A general review of the Carnival Celebration. Mike, what do you think of this new XL class cruise ship?
I love this ship. I absolutely love this ship. I wish I could live on it, to be honest. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Lots to do, lots to see. This is a beautiful ship. It's massive. There's so much to do. You're never bored.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
Yeah, no, this is a great ship. The ship is amazing. The XL class, wow, this is great. One thing that I like, and one thing that's very different about this particular ship, is that it is LNG powered. That's liquefied natural gas. Yeah. So it's a little better than diesel, environmentally speaking. However, one thing that I learned, and that I didn't know prior, it was one of the presentations, is this is kind of like a Prius. This is like a hybrid. So we actually ran out of LNG sometime, I think, yesterday, and we converted to diesel.
Yeah.
And one thing I really like about the LNG is that you don't have that trail of smoke coming out of the smokestack and trailing behind the ship. When we switched from LNG to diesel, I could kind of smell it. I could see the trail. It obscured sort of part of the horizon as a result. And of course, I'm aware that environmentally it's not as good. And so this ship isn't designed to be crossing the Atlantic on a regular basis. She's designed for 7-day sailings, probably to the Caribbean for the most part. Yeah. Although Carnival does, over the lifespan of the ships, move them around. But so it'll probably operate on LNG most of the time in its entirety. But that was kind of interesting to me to learn that. And so, yeah, this ship is great. Would you say that this is your favorite ship, Mike?
So far, the ships that I've been on, this is my favorite ship, yeah. It has a roller coaster.
That roller coaster was cool. We did the Bolt.
We have a roller coaster on our ship.
Yeah, I think this ship is pretty good. One thing, common criticism I hear about cruise ships is they say, I don't want to go and hang out on a floating mall. And this one, more than any other, has felt like a floating mall to me.
Yeah.
When you're walking on deck, what is it, 7 and 8, where it's kind of like where Emerald's is, where some of the bars are, where the deli is, that really kind of feels like you're in a floating mall. However, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's a definite different feeling. It has more wow factor than the Vista class, I think. And so, yeah, I think it's a good ship. So many food options up until about 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then it's only pizza, and then only till 4. Mike, what do you think about the food options on this ship? How did you find the food?
Food was great. I had the waffle and chicken this morning or earlier this afternoon. Wasn't that good. But overall, I think the food tastes great. The amount of food in the plate is plentiful.
Some of the portions did feel a little smaller.
Some were a little smaller, but they're well cooked. They ask you if you're going to get the steak. How do you want it cooked? And medium rare is what I go for, and it was medium rare every single time. The food quality is fantastic. Could add a little bit more onto the plate. Food's great. The service is great. They're quick. They're on your table. They get your orders. They fill your water glasses. And within 5-10 minutes, I think we got our food. Started arriving, and service was great. I have no issues with the service. They're very polite. They acknowledge you by name, and I'm impressed. I'm a avid cruiser now.
On the whole, I found the food service in the restaurants very good. There were a couple of minor things here and there. I went to brunch one day and I didn't get my toast, and I wanted to get some ketchup for my fries, and so they dropped the plate in front of me and vanished like ninjas. I didn't see him again until much later, until actually I was leaving. So I never had an opportunity to follow up on the toast or request ketchup. And so that was one brunch experience. And so I find that the service at brunch and lunch doesn't reach the same level as dinner. And I think for me, that's normal. That's kind of the Western experience, is you expect a greater experience with dinner. Dinner's the big meal. If you're going on a date with someone, it's a dinner. You don't take someone for lunch or breakfast so often. You can, and it would be but that would be a unique, original idea. It's not the norm. So there was that. And then there was one time where on the middle formal night, where it was like the 80s throwback captains, whatever they call it, there were some weird shenanigans going on with the app. We would check into the restaurant, and it would say a 2-hour wait. And I'm like, well, it's the captain's formal night. And so I think that's when they had lobster tail or something. Yeah. So it's okay, maybe it's super popular. And so the time would kind of, it updates in 10-minute increments. But then it went from 50 minutes to your table is ready. And so we were scrambling because we thought we had nearly an hour still to wait. We weren't totally, suited up.
We weren't suited up yet.
Yeah. Because, you don't want to get in a suit and then wait around for 2 hours in humid, warm, hot conditions. That's not great. You're going to show up in a sweaty suit. That's not not elegant. I wouldn't call that elegant. And so when we were finally got there, because the first time they called us, we weren't close to ready. Sam canceled it. We rebooked, and it happened again. Started waiting 2 hours. When it got to about 50 minutes, boom, table ready. We get there, and both times it said table ready. It said table number 700. I'm like, oh, round number. That's weird. Yeah. And same table both times. And like that means that the people who were there before ate in an hour about, because it had been about an hour. We get there, and they end up walking us to a completely different restaurant. We were supposed to be in Festival. Instead, they took us to Carnival, yeah. Which is their set time dining restaurant. We were in the your time dining, hence the booking, reservations, waiting. We had to like walk to a different deck, and instead of aft, it was midship, so we had to go down a deck and like 1/3 of the ship forward, yeah. And then they sat us at a completely different numbered table. And because we are in multiple cabins, Mike and I are in one cabin, Sam's in his own, we're coordinating through the app, which for checking in, that's pretty good, but Sam had hurt his ankle really bad, and he was on crutches, and they're making him run all over the ship, basically, to try and find us. And the waiter that we dealt with, the head waiter, Manuel, I think that he didn't appreciate, because I think there must have been some chaos that night. I think that, because like it wouldn't be normal for them to do that. And so I think that maybe they didn't anticipate the demand right, or there was some other issue. But I get the feeling he was having a bad evening, and everyone can have a bad evening. And I'm reading into it. I don't know, but my theory is that maybe like whoever he reports
wasn't supposed to be there. Maybe he was supposed to be in a different restaurant.
I think that for this person, I think that he was probably supposed to be in Festival. He ended up in Carnival, and with an unfamiliar setup, and I suspect it was last minute. I don't know. I got the sense he was stressed. I got the sense that he was annoyed at someone who probably wasn't us, possibly his boss. I don't know. But the point is that he kept, like, he went through the perfunctory things that you say, like, how's your day, or how are you doing?
Yeah, how are you doing?
And then he would immediately walk away before we started responding, or like mid-response, with this like totally blank expression. So like, he was having a bit of a day. And so I was I kind of took note of his name. Like I said, his name was Manuel. But then Sam told me that he went back for, I think, lunch or brunch one day, and that was his primary server, and the guy was awesome. And so I think that was just somebody who was under stress, and so who they didn't adapt to the adversity really well, but like on the normal day, they're probably doing fine. So I don't think I'll probably mention it in like the survey or anything, because we had some amazing people.
We did.
The first night in MDR, there was that guy who was absolutely amazing. He was fantastic. He was giving us advice about ports, about life, about how to eat and dessert and healthy eating, healthy living. Yeah, he was the guy who kept recommending the fruit plate, because he was talking about how like fruit was like the best sugars, and how like you can eat fruit and lose weight, and all that stuff. Yes. And then we saw him at Lido on a couple of breakfasts, and he was like, I think it was I forget which port we were in, Vigo, I think. He was looking out, and he was like, I can tell this is a good port because all those houses have intact roofs. And he's like, we go some places that's not true. This place it is. This is a rich, safe place. You go have fun. Yeah. So he was awesome. And I kind of wish that he had been set time dining and that we had it, because then we could have had him every night. Because I swear to God, he would have been our life coach by the end of this cruise. Because he gave insightful, interesting, humorous observations and advice about all sorts of topics. And he was amazing. And then like later in the cruise, I saw people were actually like requesting him and waiting for him, and he actually and somebody was like, oh, we were waiting for you, but we couldn't wait any longer. He goes, I'm very popular. But he said it in a way that was still like humble. And that's a hard thing to say in humility, but he managed it. So like there's definitely some awesome people. Our cabin steward has been fantastic.
He's been great. Yeah.
I mean, he hasn't like gone above and beyond, because our needs have been just regular, but he's been super nice. He was a real sport. He's actually in one of our videos on YouTube. So you can check it out. It's Meeting Our Cabin Steward on the Carnival Celebration. He knew we were filming, and he was a great sport. He played along. So, yeah, I think he's been great.
Great.
Any other thoughts about this celebration that you wanted to share with people? Any tips or things you liked, things you didn't like?
I want to stay on it. I don't want to leave.
The air conditioning is weak as hell in our cabin.
It is.
I'll say that. The air conditioning feels like it's a placebo. There's the little snowflake thing, and you set it to as cold as possible, and it makes the sound for a tiny little bit of time, and I don't know that it does anything.
Yeah.
So I'll say that. The air conditioning in the common area is not bad, but in the cabin... That's one thing that could use an upgrade. Plenty of power on the XL class.
Oh.
So much power. Yeah. There's, on the desk, I'm looking at it right now, 4 USBs, 3 3-prong plugs, plus 2 nightstand USB plugs. Plenty of power. You don't need to bring an outlet adapter. But if you're on any other class of ship, we strongly recommend a Tron Power Cube. That has saved the day on other cruises. Also, one thing that's kind of funny, because I'm just looking at it right now, is our not a fridge.
Yeah. Okay.
What is this thing? It says on it that it's not a fridge.
Yeah, so it says
but
here,
it's clearly a fridge.
So it says here, listen to this. It says, "Welcome to your mini bar. Just so you know, this is not a fridge. Or a medical storage device."
Now, medical storage I get.
Yeah.
If you've got medication that needs to be kept at a particular temperature, I understand. But, like, they can have a caveat about, please do not store medical things in here. Its temperature is not, whatever.
But it says, if you need to store medication, please let your stateroom attendant know.
Like, I was also wondering if it keeps drinks sufficiently cold, like milk, right? You don't keep milk cold. I think you want to grab a chocolate milk. I put a chocolate milk in there several days ago. I'm thinking I'm going to test this out right now, live on the podcast. You can hear me slurp. It feels cold. I grabbed a chocolate milk off of Lido at breakfast. I'm going to give this a sip. Tastes fine. I think the fridge, the not a fridge, is actually pretty much a fridge.
It is a fridge. Yeah.
So,
because I've had cans of pop in there and they've been cold and they've been great. Yeah.
Yeah. So there you have it. But yeah, for something that needs to be temperature controlled for medication purposes, you probably don't want to think of it as a fridge. And it's certainly not a fridge in the sense that there's no freezer compartment. You're not going to keep anything, solid. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's that was kind of funny though. And they do have some signs, like there's one sign about no smoking in the cabin, $500 fine. We have a video when that was first announced, trying to get the word out about that. Don't smoke anything in your cabin or on your balcony ever.
No,
not that I have strong feelings about that or anything, but yeah, just don't do it. And then there's another sign towards the balcony access that is like, yeah, we weren't joking about that, by the way. Real, like, not out here either. Yeah. So I think that's kind of cool. I like how they incorporate, like, they have a bit of a sense of humor about things, which is nice.
One of the things I like about this cabin is there's lots of storage space.
Yeah, lots of closet space.
You got lots of closets. Sam twisted his ankle.
He had to get crutches from the sick bay here on the ship. So if you need crutches on a Carnival cruise ship, what happens is they take a $50 deposit on your sale and sign card, and then when you return the crutches, the $50 deposit is refunded to you. And so Sam was the first person to use crutches on the Carnival Celebration, not the notoriety, claim to fame that I think he wanted.
Nope.
But thankfully he is getting better. He's able to kind of get around without the crutches now. So I feel a little bad for Sam, but I mean, I think he still was able to get a lot out of this. He has his extended balcony, which Sam was gracious enough to let us go film a quick video on, so you can check on YouTube. The extended balcony he had that, I swear to God, like, a little hyperbole, you could play soccer out there.
You literally
could, hyperbole. You could hold a pretty big poker game out there if you had a table and chairs. It was substantial. Check out the video. You got to see it to believe it. The size of his extended balcony was crazy. One more thing about the celebration that I kind of enjoy is there's kind of more than one MDR. Now, I'm not just talking about the usual, there's one for any time and one for set dining. They actually, the way they treat it in the app is they have 2 other restaurants that are treated like the main dining room. And so one of them is ChiBang. Sam calls it ChiBang because he thinks that's funny, and he's not entirely wrong.
I think it's ChiBang as well,
Yeah, it's easy to remember, that's for sure.
ChiBang.
With apologies to Ricky Martin and anyone who's listening. But it's a Mexican Chinese fusion, and I really recommend, what was it, the sweet and sour shrimp, and the what was it, the rolls.
The vegetable spring rolls.
Yes, that's what it was. The vegetable spring rolls was really quite
good. Those
are
really good,
And
I'm not a fan of shrimp, so Ray, you can enjoy that, but the vegetable spring rolls were a delight.
And they have a dessert that's really close to creme brulee that you can get any night, so you don't have to wait for formal night. So that's nice. Creme brulee now. That was actually kind of funny. When we were at MDR, I got 2 creme brulees, and so you're supposed to kind of crack the sugary coating, the shell.
Yeah, the shell.
But it had some still quasi melted sugar on it. So as soon as my spoon hit it, it went flying all over me. It got all over my suit. And so I was able to eventually get it out just with water and a washcloth, but it took a bit. Anyways, I digress. And so there's also the Italian restaurant. Cucina, which is also kind of treated like an MDR. They've got a chicken parmigiana that was really quite good. I found some of the pasta bowls and stuff. It was kind of but the chicken parmigiana was really quite good. But the cool thing is there's crossover. So some of the items from one restaurant you can get in the other.
Yeah.
And so you can get the chicken parmigiana oftentimes in the MDR, for example. The regular MDR. And that was pretty cool. And there was also a feature that I noticed that came up in the app mid-cruise. I didn't see this at the beginning. I don't think it was there until about day 3 or 4 of the cruise, where you can actually select next available table.
Yes.
And it would basically get you across those 3.
Yeah.
And the thing is it was never MDR. MDR always has the longest wait.
Yeah.
At least after the first few days. Because I think everyone tries those. Like, we tried it really early on, and then we went back to ChiBang once, but we didn't go back to Cucina. And so I think the demand drops off after those first few days, where it's never going to be MDR if you select that option. But if you're hungry and you want to eat dinner quick, in a restaurant, then that option is there for you, and that's kind of nice. But the current state of the Carnival Hub app, do not trust the wait times. Be ready to go at a moment's notice.
Yeah. So right now, I am looking on the Hub app for the dining options.
Oh, yeah.
Cucina is under a 10-minute wait.
Yeah.
ChiBang is 20 to 30-minute wait.
Oh.
Festival is under a 10-minute wait right now.
Wow, I've been proven wrong in like 90 seconds. That might be a land speed record.
But, however,
for one of my theories falling by the wayside.
Don't trust those times.
Well, that's the thing.
We've done
Reality
it where
might not match.
we had an hour wait time, and all of us said, "Oh, your table's ready," and we had to scramble. So
yeah. Well, and I think that being that weird night, maybe they were just making a bunch of tables suddenly available.
Yeah.
All under the code table 700. That was the theory. But then it also kind of happened like yesterday.
Yeah.
On just a regular old night. So that was just in the regular old MDR. So it was like I don't know.
I do believe there was a time where it said under a 10-minute wait, and we waited about 20 minutes.
Yeah. It was closer to a half hour, if I remember correctly.
That's right.
Don't necessarily trust the times. Just be ready to go when you check in, but have a plan for killing a lot more time. And keep an eye on that phone, because the notifications don't necessarily come through in a timely
sometimes
way.
The Hub app doesn't even load. So,
and between the 3 of us, one of us might get the notification right away, and the other 2 one will be saying, 10 more minutes, the other one will say 20 more minutes or something.
Yeah.
And so if you are checked in with multiple people, what we recommend is when your table becomes available is hop into the chat, if you got a group chat going with your group, and then let them know the table's available that way. That's what we've been doing to manage it, because they only hold the table for 10 minutes after they say it's available. Would they possibly bend that? I don't know, but we're going by what the app says.
Yeah.
So, don't risk it, especially if it's something you really want and you've been waiting a long time. So there you have that. We've only just scratched the surface of things about this ship. For example, something to look forward to, this doesn't seem to have self-service laundry. It has something called ironing rooms, which I've never heard of before. And so I went and I investigated that earlier today. So I've got my investigative ironing room journalism video.